I'm here so I won't get fined.
You think you know sports? Well, you don't know. Well, you don't know Jack. The You Don't Know Jack Show starts now.
Hello and welcome to the You Don't Know Jack Show, and today it is just Aaron and Carson, and taking a look here at NFL and NBA talk here today, and we'll start off by talking about the NFL, and we'll start off by talking about Terrence Knighton. He is retiring, one of the many retirements that have been talked about, along with Ben Roethlisberger before finally making a decision to stay. He is coming back. Jay Cutler is still considering retirement. That just came up on ESPN here a little bit ago. So there is some retiring going on, some players leaving as Knighton's going to try and be a coach. Checking in on some fantasy here, A.J. Green is one of those guys that got hurt. He is had a hamstring, and his health is not in question. Fantasy owners can safely take him in the first round once the clear top six are off the board. The only area of concern with Green will be the Bengals' downgraded offensive line, as it sounds like he's going to be coming back healthy. Keenan Allen's one of those other players. Eric Decker, Josh Doxson, kind of had an injury-riddled first season in the NFL, and some other players too. So that is really all that's going on. And the draft is 2 weeks away from Thursday. This is Wednesday night. We're recording the show, and also interesting, 49ers confirming that they're interested in trading the second round pick, or the second overall pick. Any thoughts on that, Aaron?
What'd you say?
49ers are thinking about trading the number 2 overall pick.
I don't know. I think they probably... I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on that. I'm not sure who they could get at 2 anyway, so might as well.
Myles Garrett will be gone, more than likely. If Myles Garrett's there...
I don't think they're going to go after a quarterback.
Yeah, definitely don't want to take one at 2.
Yeah, they're probably just going to try to trade back and get an extra pick, kind of like the Cowboys did when they got, I think it was Frederick. They traded back way late into the first round that year. Everybody was like, what? Why? But they got an extra pick or whatever out of it. So,
and Frederick turned out all right.
Yeah, I'd say.
This is thescore.com. It's what we always use. John Lynch won't have to wait long to make his first pick as general manager, but he's willing just to wait a bit longer, potentially. He says he could be... He says you don't like being at 2 through 14, but you like having the second pick. It puts you in the driver's seat, a lot of options at your disposal, and we'll explore every single one of them. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but there's interest. So if Myles Garrett somehow doesn't go number 1, and you drafted DeForest Buckner last year, and the year before that, Eric Armstead, do you dare take another defensive lineman? And, obviously Garrett could maybe be an outside linebacker, but that is, I don't know if I could do it. You don't want him to keep falling. I guess I could really care less if he keeps falling, but I feel like Cleveland's going to take him, but if by some dumb reason they would be pulling a Cleveland move and not take him. It had to be interesting for the 49ers, I think.
I don't know. People are basically making this guy into like a Pro Bowler already. It's like, I don't know. I think that the Browns could use a lot more different players than him. I mean, look at their quarterback situation. Obviously, they have the 12th pick too, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the two weakest spots.
They should get a running back and a quarterback, like Fournette and probably Trubisky. I guess. I
think Crowell ended up leaving. I think they released him or did something with him.
Yeah, and he was pretty up and down anyway. I would say they like to do that. You know, it seems from what I've seen that they like to do the power run thing, and their offensive line isn't that bad. So if you
now it's really good after
get a good running back, and then get like Trubisky, because you're not going to play Osweiler, but
yeah. Eventually, we're going to have Jacob Gurney. He's a Browns writer for Armchair All-Americans, and I think we're going to try and get him and Grant Baker to talk about the number 1 overall pick for the Browns. But I think they go Garrett, number 1, because I think that defensive line still needs help. And obviously, Danny Shelton, he's a good defensive tackle. But I think if you add Garrett as a pass rusher, I think that would really help your defense. Get some defensive players later, too. But then maybe when you get to your 12th overall pick, maybe trade back and then maybe see what's available at quarterback. Like trade back 3 to 5 spots and then see what's there. And if quarterbacks keep falling, maybe keep trading back until you find until you find an area where you're like, all right, maybe now we should take a quarterback. And then in the second round or even third round, I would say you could probably draft a running back, because this running back class is just loaded with talent. So I don't know if you necessarily have to take one in the first round, but quarterback, pass rusher / defensive line, other than Shelton, and a running back, those are the big areas. And I think Cleveland needs a cornerback too, other than Joe Hayden. So
I don't know. It seems to me like they're going to get that Garrett guy, and it's just not going to work out. And then it's just going to be like, oh.
You never know. I mean, look at Jamarcus Russell.
There we go again, because, it's the Browns. So
look at all the number 1 picks that have
I would like
failed.
to see that Garrett guy with the Niners more so than the Browns. I think that he'd probably be better off there, but maybe the Niners should just trade a number 1 if they really want him, and then Browns could trade back. But I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for me. Like, it'd be hard for me to pick a defensive lineman first overall, I guess. I don't know why. It just, unless you're like the Cowboys, because they absolutely need it. But
yeah, I feel like the Browns really need a pass rusher. It just seems like when you've watched games from them, that pass rusher's always been one of the things they've lacked. So maybe if they get Garrett, maybe he'll turn out, maybe he won't.
There's a lot of good defensive players in the draft though this year. So it's like,
that's true.
I guess it would be kind of dumb to pick a running back first overall.
Yeah.
Although Zeke went 4th last year, but I don't know. I think it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't know. Their 12th pick could end up working out way better than their first pick does. So
Could. You never know. Like we said, we've seen many times with first overall picks failing, like not Myles Garrett. No, I'm just predicting the future. Jamarcus Russell, the number 2 overall pick, I think it was Ryan Leaf, or was Ryan Leaf first?
I hope not.
It was 1 or 2. He failed. There's been other ones too that have just busted. So it's never a for sure deal, but definitely Garrett has the talent to end up being a star, I think. But
I think they'll get him because, I mean, I guess it's really the only logical pick, but I just see it, not because of lack of talent or anything. I just see it not working out for him.
Yeah, I think that
he'll
offensive
end up
line
getting traded like they do with all the players they pick.
Yeah, I think that offensive line is nasty, though. I mean, you got Joe Thomas, who's still a really good left tackle. They re-signed Joel Bitonio, their left guard. They signed J.C. Tretter, the Packers center. He's solid. And Kevin Zeitler, I really like, right guard from Cincinnati. The only spot of that offensive line they need is a right tackle. It seems like that's kind of where Dallas and the Vikings are kind of in that similar spot, but they're more in need of a right guard, unless you draft a right tackle and then put Remmers in at guard. But it seems like the Browns and the Cowboys have both set offensive lines, just need that one last piece, and that's not even a big need for either one of those teams. But, it'd be interesting to see how high Dallas drafts right tackle.
Be too hard to replace a Doug Free. They should have kept Leary, but
yeah, that would have been tough to keep him because I mean you're not gonna move.
That's all players want now is money.
Yeah. Well, that and I think Leary wanted a chance to start, and I don't think he was going to have that really because I don't think he's a tackle, and I don't think they were going to move any of the guards to tackle. So that would have been. I mean, everybody wants a chance to start, and definitely he's definitely going to start in Denver. So yeah, that's basically all we got for NFL. It's pretty dead right now. That's kind of where we're at. I mean, draft talk, other than that, if you don't know what you're talking about with the draft, then it's pretty boring. I mean, I listen to a lot of draft stuff, kind of have an idea of where players can go, but definitely far from an expert. So moving on to NBA, we will take a look. The playoffs will be set after tonight. Games going on right now to determine the final 7 and 8 seeds in the Western Conference, or Eastern Conference. Jeez, I'm off. But we'll talk about that coming up next. You're listening to the You Don't Know Jack Show.
Hey listeners, don't forget to find You Don't Know Jack Show on Facebook at facebook.com/You Don't Know Jack Show. Twitter at twitter.com/Don't Know Jack Show, and Instagram at instagram.com/You Don't Know Jack Show. You can also follow Carson on Twitter at Radio Ruben. Now back to the show.
Do you enjoy shopping online? Do you like shopping on Amazon? If you answered yes to both of those questions, listen up. You can help the show while shopping. Go to our website, youdon'tknowjackshow.com, and click on any of the Amazon links. Once you have done that, bookmark the link, and whenever you shop on Amazon, click our link. Amazon, the best way to help our show, because there's no extra cost to you.
And welcome back. NBA talk now as we're waiting for the final 2 seeds in the East to be decided. Indiana currently has the 7th seed, Chicago the 8th seed, and Miami is currently on the outside looking in. Aaron, who do you think gets the final seeds here?
Well, the Pacers were winning last time I checked, and
Pacers have the lead over Indiana, over the Hawks, 59-45. So it looks like they're safe.
Over Indiana, okay, and Miami's got the lead over the Heat. The Bulls got the lead over Chicago.
Tell you what,
yeah,
I tell you what, man.
I tell you what. I like this guy, man.
I really love this player. I love Luke Kuechly. I love the way he tackles. I love the way he plays. Yeah, Miami's got the lead over Washington. And that was a joke. And let's see, who's the other?
You're killing me.
Chicago, of course, is leading the Nets. So it looks like Miami's going to be done. And are you kind of surprised by that, or were you expecting them to miss it this year?
I'm glad they're going to miss it. Seriously. I'm sick of them being, around. Get out of here.
Well, they don't have D-Wade anymore. Now Chicago has D-Wade. They're making.
I don't like Chicago making it either, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think Chicago would probably give the Celtics more of a run than the Cavs could still win tonight, but it's not looking good. LeBron and Kyrie aren't playing, but I think it's going to be... I think the Bulls would give Boston a better run than Miami would, probably.
Yeah, Bulls are 7-3 in their last 10 games to close the regular season, so they've been kind of on a roll.
And they could get Wade back, from what I know. I don't know exactly, but... yeah, I don't know. I just don't think Miami quite has enough, especially with Waiters being out and all that. And Chicago usually plays tough no matter who they play, so I'm interested to see. That'd be funny if they knocked Boston out, but I doubt it. But
yeah, Wade is playing again.
I don't know. Boston seems more like a regular season team to me.
D Wade has 5 points tonight, 2 for 7 shooting, so not very good. Oh, even worse, Mirotic is 3 for 12.
He was playing well.
But Chicago does have the lead, so yeah, Nets have been bad, and they're going to continue to be bad if they keep making trades like they did with the Celtics to get all those old players and expect to win a championship. But that was a mistake, and they hopefully won't make that again because that was awful. Moving on, so it appears as if Miami is done, unless a miracle happens. But so it looks like this is going to be what the Eastern Conference looks like. Boston wins the number 1 seed, so they will host Chicago. Or they'll play Chicago, Indiana, and Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Toronto, Atlanta, and Washington. Aaron, what of those matchups, obviously other than Cleveland and Indiana, which other of those matchups are you interested in watching?
From the East, none really. I'm actually more interested in the West because you got the Thunder and the Rockets, the Jazz and the Clippers. What are the other ones? I just looked today, but
Memphis and San Antonio. That could be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, and then Portland. Who gave Golden State a run last year, and Portland's been playing well. So
yeah, heading back.
Not saying they're going to win, because they're probably not going to.
Heading back to the East before we go back to the West again. I think one interesting game or series could be Milwaukee and Toronto. Because I think Milwaukee, I don't know, have any stats to back this up, but I think Milwaukee's a decent defensive team, aren't they?
They got a lot of length.
They got a lot of length, and I like Giannis a lot.
I think they're I checked yesterday, and they were first in block shots per game.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either, but they could make a run on Toronto if Toronto has a time where they choke again, because it seems like Toronto always has that time where they choke in the playoffs.
Indiana plays Cleveland tough, but I think that Cleveland's just been saving their energy. So
that, and I think Indiana's just missing one more playmaker other than Paul George.
I think Paul George will have a good series, but I don't see him winning more than one game, if even one game. I think the Bulls could really give Boston a run here. I'm not even saying that to be biased. I'm legitimately can't talk. Saying that because, I don't know, I think that the Bulls have always played the Celtics tough. So
I don't know. I just feel like in the end, Isaiah Thomas is going to be too much for anybody from Chicago to guard.
That could be, but Jimmy Butler's been playing well too.
Yeah,
so.
Jimmy. I don't know if they would put Jimmy on him. Maybe they would. I mean, obviously, I don't know.
They're gonna
what
put
their
Isaiah
matchups have
Thomas on Jimmy Butler. No.
been. Yeah, jeez, that would not be good. That would be one of the worst matchups. But then, yeah, I think it'll come down to maybe some of the guys like Amiritich going against a Jay Crowder, and obviously Horford going against.
If Mirotic is going, like if he's playing well, then they're actually a decent team. They lost Taj Gibson; they should have kept him. But
Lopez
I was
was
going
their
to
center.
say, dang it, what was I going to say?
God,
I'll have to think of it. I forgot.
just have a terrible team.
Trying to think of what I was going to say about that. I'll think of it later. Who would the Wizards play?
The Wizards are going to play the Hawks.
Oh, yeah, the Hawks. Yeah, see, the Cavs could have had the 1 seed.
It could be an interesting series, but I think
But
Washington
they blew
wins.
a 26-point lead in the fourth quarter the other night. So
Yeah.
that was a disaster.
Yeah, I don't think Atlanta's going to have enough.
I think it's funny
offense.
how teams get so excited when they beat the Cavs, and then in the playoffs they just get killed. Like Atlanta, the past 2 years got swept by the Cavs, and they're all excited about beating them in the regular season series. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Who has been their
Like
big
Boston's
player this year?
Boston's probably all happy right now, but it's
Oh, that's
like,
right. Dwight Howard's, he's been having a good season. But they don't have the guards to keep up with Washington. I mean, Schroeder, whatever they call him.
I think that one will be kind of interesting.
Hardaway's okay, but
I just think
just
too
not
many
good
teams
enough
in
to
the-
keep up with Beal.
Too many teams in the East try too hard in the regular season, I think. Is what it seems like. And then they're just not that good in the playoffs. Like, Boston can't handle Cleveland in the playoffs. I think the Wizards would probably be them or the Raptors would give the Cavs the most run, but I even think the Bulls could give the Cavs a better run than, Atlanta anyway, because the Cavs, can beat Atlanta when they're actually, like, trying. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I just find it funny that teams get so excited. They're like, oh, yeah. And then the Cavs sweep them, and it's like, oh, well, shoot.
Do you think that the Wizards are like one player away yet? Like maybe
I don't like their team. I don't know. I just don't.
I like Gortat being the center.
I like Beal and Wall, but outside of that, I just don't like their team.
I like Gortat, but other than that, Bogdanovich is not bad coming off the bench. Porter's okay, but I feel like they need more of a defensive guy, like that's either a small or a power forward. And I don't think they have that. I think if they get like a guy that's more of a defensive player for one of those positions, or more balance, maybe they would get. What would you think if they got like a Blake Griffin in the offseason? Because it sounds like I think his contract is up. Would Blake Griffin be a good fit there?
That makes me think of their team even like more of a weird team. I don't know. I think their team is weird. Like, their team doesn't seem to like fit. I don't know. It's so weird.
I think the core three that I've been talking about kind of fit together, but the other two spots don't really go well. I don't know.
Yeah, they need to find. They don't really even have an identity either.
Yeah.
From what I know, I mean, they got that backcourt, but I don't know. They're just a weird team when I think about it. I think that I don't know who wins that series. That's going to be.
I think Washington will.
That might go to 7. Might.
I'll take Washington in 6.
Yeah, it'll probably be 6. but
I don't think Atlanta's going to have the ability to keep up with John Wall and Bradley Beal or guard them.
well, they do have Dwight Howard down low, and Paul Millsap, which are two pretty good defenders, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, especially with, how well those two can shoot outside. John Wall obviously couldn't when he first came into the league, but I don't know. That'll be pretty interesting. I think both 4-5s are interesting in both conferences.
Yeah.
So.
Moving along here, unless you have like a dark horse you wanted to mention from the East.
I'm going to say Chicago. Watch out for them.
And I am going to go with Milwaukee.
I was going to say them, too.
Because I just think if Toronto chokes and Milwaukee starts getting in a rhythm, you never know. And Milwaukee, they've won 2 in a row. Not that that's saying anything, but you never know. You never know. Moving on to the West, and obviously Golden State and San Antonio are the top 2 seeds. And then you have Houston, Clippers, Utah, OKC, Memphis, and Portland. And I am very interested to see the Portland-Golden State series. And I think I'm more interested to see it because of how well the Blazers played to finish the season. They finished 8-2 their last 10 games, and they've won 3 in a row. So if they win tonight against New Orleans, who doesn't have anything to play for, neither does Portland really, but you never know. I think it'd be interesting to see them and Golden State go back and forth because if like Steph and or Clay end up having bad series and you have Damian obviously and McCollum.
Plus you take into account that Portland played them all last year. Mm-hmm. I don't think Portland wins unless like somebody gets injured on Golden State, but I still see them at least winning 1 game, maybe 2.
Yeah. I don't think Nurkic is playing though. Looks like he's got a fractured right fibular or right leg fibular fracture, whatever. So that's not a good thing to have. And then Festus Ezeli, he just has a sore knee, so he'll probably play. But if Nurkic is out, which it sounds like he could be, that is going to be a tough loss because he could be a presence inside that Golden State doesn't have as much of with
What are you
Zaza.
talking about? JaVale McGee.
Oh, man, Zaza, he's pretty good.
Zaza has tatas.
So yeah, it's it'll be an interesting series. And then one of the other ones that obviously is going to be interesting, Houston and Oklahoma City. But I don't think Oklahoma City is going to win more than 2 games. I don't. I think Houston's going to take care of them pretty soundly. I mean, obviously,
I think people will be shocked by that because people think Oklahoma City's a good team, and I sit there and look at them, and I'm like,
no,
not really.
I mean, I think they've got some talent that Westbrook doesn't take advantage of. I think Steven Adams is a pretty solid center. I think they could use him more.
I think Oladipo is just too streaky.
He's been having kind of a rough year, but
they did sign Taj Gibson, which was good, but
yeah, and I think they got him in
I don't know,
trade.
unless Westbrook has like the best series ever, I don't see them winning. Plus, the Rockets have so many weapons. Mm-hmm. So I don't. Yeah,
I think the Rockets have a solid chance, honestly, of getting to the Western Finals for sure. If not the finals. I was telling Isaac Shade, the guy I had on my other show today. I just have a feeling that either Golden State or Cleveland is not going to get back to the finals. I just have that feeling inside. It's just feels like a weird year to me. That something's going to happen to one of these teams, whether it's an injury or just a big play that happens for one of these teams. It feels like there's going to be a change.
I know I'm biased, but I don't see Cleveland not making it. That was a double negative. I see Cleveland making it just because they're in the East and they have LeBron. Like, I mean, if it comes down to like a Game 7, like it did a few years ago at the Heat against the Pacers, I think the Cavs would probably win it. I don't know who could take them to 7 games, though, in the East.
I don't think Toronto could. I still think Boston could. I'm more confident in Boston than what you are, but I still think if Isaiah
really
Thomas...
that I'm not confident in them. I just think the playoffs are different. Like, Boston's just not ready to compete for a title yet. They're just not there yet, in my eyes. Like, they play hard. They're well coached. They have a good team, but I'd give them a year or two yet if they can, like, add somebody else. But I think in the West, the Warriors better watch out for, the Spurs and the Rockets. I would say they should watch out for the Rockets more than the Spurs, honestly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Spurs. You never know with the Spurs. You always got to keep an eye on.
Every time you count them out, they come back. So.
Yeah, and Houston has had one of those seasons where they have just been defying the odds. A lot of people were picking them to miss the playoffs or being a very, very low seed in the playoffs, and they.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would never go that far to say they would miss the playoffs, but.
Well, there were some people that were thinking they would.
They were like a 7th seed last year, weren't they?
Yeah, I think they were towards the bottom. So. Maybe Mike D'Antoni, excuse me, could end up winning the Coach of the Year.
Well, if you think about offensive teams that can keep up with them, Golden State, you would think the Rockets and the Cavs. Obviously, the Cavs' defense isn't very good, but yeah, I mean even the Spurs on offense, I don't think can keep up with the Warriors. Like the Spurs have to play really good defense to beat the Warriors.
Yeah.
If the Clippers are on fire, they could keep up. But
they are, actually. I was just looking at that. They have won 6 in a row and are 8-2 in their last 10.
When it comes to the playoffs, though.
Yeah, the Clippers always
they're one of those teams
choke,
pretty much like the Hawks, like we were saying. They're just one of those teams that just can't.
Well, in Toronto too, they always can't get over the hump either. But
well, I think that the Rockets can't really either. So that's kind of one thing that is like
somebody's going to have to do it.
Like you're like, well, the Rockets could make it to the finals, but then you're like, I don't know.
The 4 or 5 game in the West, the Clippers and the Jazz, I think, is going to be interesting. Because the Jazz have a really good defense, obviously, and the Clippers have a really good offense. I think it'll be interesting, or not really good. I mean, they're pretty good. They're not as good as as they've been in the past, I don't think. But they've kind of been on a roll. I don't think they're going to do much. I think Utah actually has got a good shot of beating them. But I actually think Doc Rivers should have some consideration for Coach of the Year just because of everything that the Clippers have gone through this year, from Blake Griffin's injury. He had an injury and he had issues with other things. And Chris Paul obviously had his injury.
I don't know. I think.
And all the drama that goes on in L.A. all the time. I just feel like
if I was Doc Rivers, I probably would have left by now. Like,
yeah.
The team just can't get over the hump. It's like when it's like when Melo made the playoffs all those years with the Nuggets, and they would lose right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah, I was telling Isaac, too, I said, I think the Clippers are going to be in big rebuilding mode because I think they lose not only Blake Griffin, but they lose Chris Paul. At least they're both going to be free agents, and I don't think they're going to bring both of them back. I don't think they can. I don't think they would want to all come back either because I think they know that their big three that they have formed is not going to work.
As much as I love Chris Paul, I think they should keep Blake Griffin because he's younger and he's their leading scorer. Just build around him because he's really spread out his game. You know, he can do a little bit of everything. Keep him and DeAndre, then you have a good front court you can build around. Chris Paul's kind of getting up there in age. And he's just one of those players that's like, kind of like Carmelo Anthony, where it's like, as great as they are, they just can't win in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Tony Romo, you know. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's almost like a curse, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
it's not all on them individually, but I mean, at some point you got to look at Chris Paul and say, you know, he hasn't even been to the Western Conference Finals. So it's like, he's great, but, you know.
It would be interesting to me to see Chris Paul go to the Pelicans because the Pelicans have been missing that point guard for a long time.
Go back to New Orleans?
Yes.
I don't know if they could afford him now that they got...
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Chris Paul would probably go to like the Lakers or something.
He probably could go to a bigger market that can afford him. But
go from the Clippers to the Lakers.
Yeah. But I think that would be interesting though with Boogie and Davis and Paul. I think if you form that big three, that would be interesting because you got obviously your front court set. But then if you add that point guard, maybe Chris Paul could potentially help them get to the next level. I don't know. It would be interesting. It'd be an interesting thing, but I don't know if it'll happen.
He could just be cursed.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Could be.
I just don't know.
But yeah, I don't think the Lakers are going to sign a point guard this offseason unless they sign like Steph or something. But
well, from what I've heard, they want to get rid of D'Angelo. Which doesn't make much sense to me, but...
he just made the game winner against the Wolves the other night.
I don't know. He's had a good year. Like, why? And he's still young.
But I think they've got to get rid of either Clarkson or Russell.
Say get rid of Clarkson. I think I see more... I like Clarkson, but I see more potential in Russell.
Yeah.
He's a better scorer and playmaker. Mm-hmm.
Clarkson's got the shooting ability, but that's
well, so does Russell, but
that's about it though with Clarkson.
Yeah,
shooting, and that's about it. So I guess if I'm the Lakers, I would definitely try and get maybe the Lakers could go get Blake Griffin because I mean Julius Randle is still there, but
I think they're looking at getting Paul George.
That'd be awesome.
But
PG-13 in LA, baby.
I feel bad for Paul George as well as he's played, and the Pacers just keep losing all these close games. It's like, God.
But the thing is with the Lakers, though, it might take them some time to get over this bad offseason that they just had, signing Timothy Mozgov to a $15 million salary and Luol Deng to however much he's signed for.
Why do people keep signing Luol Deng? He's done. He's old.
I would have rather given Luol Deng that money, but both of those contracts were terrible. Like, why do that? Like, you weren't going to compete anyway this year.
Well,
why
that
would
was
you
before
sign those
that
players?
Magic took over, so.
Yeah, I know.
Now you would think.
I think I'm excited to see what Magic Johnson decides to do this offseason. And
yeah, he'll probably be smarter about it. And I think that he'll go pretty hard after Paul George. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of teams will, obviously. But there was something I heard about if Paul George makes an All-NBA team, he gets like a huge bonus. And it's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing or something because there was like a loophole or something. I don't know. I heard somebody
contract
talking about it the other day, and I was like, wow, that'd be crazy. Because it was like he'd make like an extra, I don't know how much it was. Could have sworn they said like $60 million, but then I was like, no way. But
maybe
yeah,
6. I don't know.
I have no idea. I would
That'd
have
be
to
crazy.
kind of look that up, but that's if he makes it.
Yeah.
Which I think he's good enough too, but the voting with those types of things, like last year, I don't think Harden made an All-NBA team.
No. Well, and he didn't have probably as good of a year.
Well, true.
It's weird, though. Looks like the Rockets are playing all their starters. I don't know why. Against the Timberwolves. Harden's got a double-double. Capella's in, Ariza, Anderson, Beverly.
I would have liked to see the Timberwolves in the playoffs, but
Yeah, they wouldn't have gotten far, though.
no, but would have been a good,
Obviously a bright future, though.
step forward for them. I think if Levine stayed healthy, maybe they could have made it, but
Yeah, it would have taken a miracle, though. Because they would have had to win 10 more games. I don't know if Levine's 10 more games better.
I think Rubio's earned his spot now.
Yes. I was totally against Rubio, but I've seen him play, and I've seen some of the things he's done this year.
Plus, he's a good defender, too.
And I think he's good. And I think between him and Towns, I think those two guys should be set. But I am still a little bit unsure about Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, he's got great potential. He's a great athlete.
When I see his stats, sometimes I'm like, God, good thing the Cavs didn't keep him. But
then there's games where you're like, oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I was like, well.
So he's inconsistent. So maybe
I don't know, he'd be a good trade piece.
Yeah.
If they wanted to. If they get Paul George.
Oh.
That'd be interesting. I don't know if it'd fit very well, but.
I think that would fit well because they still need more defense, and Paul George is obviously a defender. But
they don't really have, well, yeah, Wiggins, but if they were to trade him, I don't know, they'd have to figure something out. But I think Paul George would be a huge upgrade.
Wiggins for Paul George, and maybe a first.
I don't know
pick.
though, because I think George is going to be a free agent, so. They're probably not looking to trade him.
I don't know if he is. I think he's...
Pretty sure.
I'll have to look that up here a second. But, yeah, that'd be interesting to see if somebody gets Paul George.
Yeah, they're talking Lakers, but I don't know. If I was Paul George, I wouldn't want to go there unless they paid me, a ton of money.
Yeah.
They don't really have much appeal. Who do the Lakers have? Russell and Randall, but
Randall.
I don't know.
Zubac,
actually,
the center. He's not too bad.
I'd be interested in going to play because of Magic Johnson, but
yeah, I think he's going to change some of that old mentality of I'm not
maybe
going
they'll
to the Lakers.
they would have a meeting with George and be like, we're going to bring in a bunch of players, a bunch of talent, so. Maybe that would kind of get him going, but I don't know who else. Maybe they bring in Chris Paul and Paul George.
That would be who are you talking about?
The Lakers.
The Lakers? That'd be interesting. I don't know if I want
That'd be weird.
Chris Paul though or not.
Yeah, like I said, he's kind of cursed, so.
Yeah, never can get over the hump.
For as competitive as he is, you would think.
Yeah, it looks like Paul George.
Allen Iverson made it to the finals.
Yeah, looks like Paul George got 2 more seasons after this season under contract yet.
Oh, I thought he was a free agent.
He's projected to make around $19 million next year, and then $20.5 million the following year.
Hey, look up that Paul George All-NBA thing. See if you can find anything on that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I heard it on, I don't know which show it was. I think it was Sports Nation or something.
Paul George nets $7 million bonus with all NBA third team selection.
It's only $7 million.
Oh, that was 2014.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought that number was bigger. Could have sworn they said like 70 million. I was like, no way.
Not finding anything for this year. Yeah, but that.
Wish I would have recorded that.
But yeah, that'd be interesting to see if he would get a bonus from that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason because not only with Blake Griffin and Chris Paul, I think those guys are both out of contract, and then to pile that on, you got Kevin Durant who could decline his option, and you have Steph Curry whose contract is up. So you could be quickly seeing some of these powerhouses go away because if Steph and Kevin both leave, which I think one of them for sure will stay, if not both, but if those guys both leave somehow and both Chris Paul and Blake Griffin leave, there's going to be interesting mix-ups.
Well, actually, no. I was going to say I could see Durant leaving well before Steph would, but
Steph to the Lakers, please.
With how much Steph's stats and stuff have gone down, I mean, I don't think his contract's that big with Golden State either. So,
well, it isn't this year, but he's going to demand quite a bit this when he gets his new deal.
Maybe they can't afford him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking because I mean
that's the problem with signing a Durant. Then you're
obviously they signed Klay Thompson to that big extension, so they've got him under lock and key.
I'm gonna cheer if they lose anybody, I'm probably gonna cheer. And be like, woo, they lost him.
And then Draymond, I don't know. I think he might still be under his rookie deal, but they're going to have to pay him too.
Where would Curry even go?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd have to be a team that's got other. Well, maybe it'd be a Pelican, like the Pelicans, where you've got the guys in the front court. You just need a backcourt piece. Maybe a team like that. Maybe a team like, I don't know, the Jazz.
Well, maybe if Indiana
Lakers obviously are always
loses
interested.
George, or if they want to get George help,
Pacers.
You go there. I don't know.
Pacers don't seem to have too much money tied into anybody other than him.
Charlotte, though. Maybe he goes back home and does one of those things. Maybe Durant does that and joins the Wizards.
The Wizards. Maybe he'll go to Boston eventually now. Maybe they'll trade Crowder. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of stuff could happen. I don't know. I didn't see Cousins actually, getting traded. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I knew there was talks, but especially right before the deadline too. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, well, we went longer than we thought because we've been talking about all kinds of different possibilities. But that's going to do it for the You Don't Know Jack show, powered by the Armchair All-Americans, armchairallamericans.com. Check out my articles and all kinds of other articles there. Catch the Dash to the Draft podcast to get caught up on all the prospects and everything that's going on. They do a really good job with that. And the Armchair NFL podcast, which I think is recording again this week. But keep up with all of those NBA podcasts they have as well. And, of course, don't forget to go to our website, You Don't Know Jack Show. Shop on Amazon with us. Go to our website and click on any of the Amazon links, and we will get a percentage of that back. No extra cost to you. And donate a check if you want. We'll tell you how to do that if you contact us via email. So that's going to do it for the show. I will be back next week with another guest, and that will be a surprise for you guys. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the You Don't Know Jack Show with Jonah, Aaron, and Carson. If you want to read articles, get more information, or have questions about the show, go to our website, youdon'tknowjackshow.com. You can subscribe and listen to the show on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio.